Doug Wagner, along with Elias Randall, Jonas Everett, and Roger Abel, who gets this question from Mitch. I inherited $180,000 from my mom. What's the best way to allocate it so it just doesn't sit in the bank?
Good question. We get it a lot. The first thing I tell people to do, take a breath, wait about 90 days before you do anything. After that, we need to just take a very good holistic look at your overall financial picture. And there's 4 steps to doing this, or 4 parts of it. The first step is we need to put together a clear plan. What is a clear plan? What are our goals, our priorities? Let's get organized. So first step, let's get a plan together. I always like to address short-term priorities first. And what I mean by short-term priorities, do we have an emergency fund established? If we don't have the emergency fund 3 to 6 months, that's the first thing you should establish. Once established, let's take a look. What is the high interest rate or consumer debt outside of our mortgage that we have? I'd like to attack that next. So if you have a car payment, if you have a credit card, if you have a buy now, pay later, which might not even have an interest rate. If you have a buy now, pay later, let's pay that off. So once we've established emergency fund, we've paid off the debt, then we can put some money to work. And I think this is where people miss it when I say put the money to work. If Mitch already has emergency fund, no debt, he's probably thinking, I'm going to tell him to go invest $180,000. That's not necessarily what I'm going to say. It comes back to having a plan. If we put a financial plan together and Mitch is already on track for retirement, his savings rate is right, this may be a situation where we go to the 4th step and tell him to go enjoy some of it.
Okay.
Because most inheritances, they all get enjoyed. They don't get saved or pay off debt like they get enjoyed in 18 months. But if you are on track for retirement, this will give yourself permission to go enjoy it and not put yourself at peril. If you want to invest it all, that's great. But at the end of the day, those 4 steps, if you just execute those 4 steps, you'll make a very good money decision with the $180,000 versus what most people do. And the windfall's gone in 18 months and it probably went to a car or a boat or both, failed business or both, whatever it went to. That's the average that inheritance lasts in America today.
You know what? If you go to premieriwm.com, you can make an appointment online by just clicking through and making an appointment. You can also click Get Started, answer a few questions. They'll provide for you a free 1-page Premier Vision document and a free no obligation consultation to go with that. They'll sit down with you and they'll find out a little bit more about how you want to invest, what your risk tolerance is and what you see your future as. Are you ready for retirement? You can find out by checking with my friends at Premier Investments and Wealth Management, premieriwm.com or 800-383-6590. Named to Forbes 2025 Best in State Wealth Management Team at Premier Investments and Wealth Management.
Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member FINRA SIPC. The opinions voiced in this show are for general information purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult with your attorney, accountant, and financial or tax advisor prior to investing. Premier Investments and Wealth Management and LPL Financial do not provide specific individualized tax or legal advice. We suggest that you discuss your specific situation with a qualified tax or legal advisor. Economic forecasts set forth may not develop as predicted, and there can be no guarantee that strategies promoted will be successful. All performance referenced is historical and is not a guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and cannot be invested into directly. There is no assurance that the techniques and strategies discussed are suitable for all investors or will yield positive outcomes. The purchase of certain securities may be required to affect some of the strategies. Investing involves risks, including possible loss of principal. There is no guarantee that a diversified portfolio will enhance overall returns or outperform a non-diversified portfolio. Diversification does not protect against market risk. Forbes' Best in State Wealth Management Team's ranking was developed by Shook Research and is based on in-person, virtual, and telephone due diligence meetings and a ranking algorithm that includes a measure of each team's best practices, client retention, industry experience, review of compliance records, firm nominations, and quantitative criteria, including assets under management and revenue generated for their firm. Investment performance is not a criterion because client objectives and risk tolerances vary, and advisors rarely have audited performance reports. Shook's research and rankings provide opinions intended to help investors choose the right financial advisor and team, and are not indicative of future performance or representative of any one client's experience. Past performance is not an indication of future results. Neither Forbes nor Shook Research receive compensation in exchange for placement on the ranking. For more information, please see www.shookresearch.com. Shook is a registered trademark of Shook Research, LLC.